Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the videos. Another paid request. This time for Ali. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Ali wanted me to rank the Rambo films, which this is probably the easiest video to do. Thank you, Ali. I appreciate that. But if anyone wants to request any type of videos, PayPal's the best bet. Links are down below in the info box. So, the rank the Rambo films. Number one, my favorite will and always will be, has been, Rambo First Blood Part 2. I watched the first three Rambo films over and over and over again. I had the first two on VHS tape. The third one, we had tapes. And I even remember like the trailers. You'd have the certain trails in front of each one, and also after the tape was finished. I would watch them back to back, so it's hard to be like. What was it? There was a James Garner film with John Lithgow called The Glitter Dome. There was a Heaven Help Us with a young Kevin Dillon. There's a lot of nostalgic memories of watching those tapes. And while I do like I love all four. To me, there's four Rambo films. Rambo 2 is my favorite. I think I said before, to me, it's one of the quintessential action films, which sadly has been busted on and crapped on, and for the past decade, been kind of washed away as nothing but junk or propaganda or not as good as it's just been forgotten in a way. And I'm sitting there going, like, Rambo 2 was looked at as like the badass movie back in the day, but then kind of as years have gone on, it's just kind of been tossed aside. Like, the film was huge when it came out in 1985. And it made a ton of money, made like 150 million in the US alone, was Stallone's biggest hit. It was what brought Rambo to the pop culture status. As much as I like First Blood, Rambo 2 is what made Rambo an icon. Rambo 2 is what made Rambo a pop culture statement. Rambo 2 is what brought Rambo to the dance, so to speak. First Blood was successful. It's a good movie. Rambo 2 is what made him Rambo. And from the story of getting POWs, do we get to win this time, to the great action set pieces, the C4 tipped explosive arrow, one of the coolest weapons I've ever seen in a movie. I wish more movies would have that. I love the way it looks. I love the way it's edited, where he fires. You have a little bit of time to wait before it blows up some vehicles or blows up people, blows up an entire village. Set piece involving helicopters and going to town on the village, having fights with people in helicopters, having helicopter dogfights when one's chasing the other. Utilizing locations very well. I love the character of Ko. She was very likable. She was very sweet. She was an innocent. The score by Jared Goldsmith is fantastic. There's some nice heart to it, where even by the end, I want what they want. Every guy that spilt this guts and give it in his head, everything he had once, for our country to love us as much as we love it. That's what I want. And people can make fun of that all they want. I think that's a legitimate speech, and it's what a lot of people felt, you know. We did what we were supposed to do, and people were giving up their lives, and they were shit on. And we have Vietnam, the sequel, but this time Rambo wins. He gets some badass one-liners. Murdoch, I'm coming to get you. And great set pieces. The bit where the boat's being attacked, he gets the missile launcher, shoots the rocket, blows up the boat. He's running and he jumps in the big explosion as he jumps to the waterfall and into the water. When he's in the mud, he's stalking people, killing them one by one, hunting them down one by one like a villain in a slasher movie. Just the M60. Yeah, Richard Crenna and Charles Napier and even Martin Cove from Karate Kid in the supporting role. How you don't live, John, day by day. Just everything worked for me. Stephen Burkoff from Beverly Hills Cop. He was the villain, the head Russian. I didn't just the story, how serious it took it. Was a wink in. I love Commando. Don't get me wrong. I love Commando. But I think I've talked about it before. As much as I love Commando, I do like Rambo 2 more because of how much more serious the story is. How much more a bit emotional the character Rambo is. Where you see a fluctuation of emotions of, his stoic but the anger, her dying and him being remorseful. Screaming in vengeance. Mission accomplished. You find them, I'll find you. I mean, I love seeing all that. Getting the POWs to safety, accomplishing something, despite what the orders say, and just the great action set pieces you get in there. You have the score by Jared Goldsmith, my favorite score Jerry has ever done. May he rest in peace. Love Rambo 2. Still my favorite. And number 2, Rambo 3. That's my second favorite. You say, well, they're more of the comic book superhero Rambos. Well, that's what I prefer then. I love Rambo 3. I never understood why it was so hated. I always say it's one of the more underrated sequels. They gives people their money's worth. You say it's a bit of a slow build. It doesn't bother me because I still like the stick fight. It's an intense fight. I like some of the lines of dialogue. The blue light, what does it do? It turns blue. I like the guy who teams up with him, like his handler, that gets him to where he needs to go. I thought that actor did a decent enough job. Richard Crenna, it was great to see him more on an even feel with Rambo. Where in previous films he was either felt like more of an outside in First Blood, and then even in Rambo 2. But here they're in the grit together. They're side by side fighting fighting side by side at the end. It's great to see that different take on Richard Crenna on Troutman. It's great to see Stallone and Crenna have more to do together. Have more screen time together. That was great to see. Crenna was more in on the action. Being a fan of the actor and liking the Troutman character. The action set pieces, I mean, getting the C4 explosive arrow blowing up helicopters, getting heavy machine guns and blow up helicopters, shooting C4 arrows that gets people in caves, find big motherfuckers, not only kicking them, not only hanging them, but then blowing them up as well. Tank versus helicopter. Yes, I know. Why does the helicopter just fly and go behind him and blow him up? I know. It's a movie. What can I say? I'm into the moment. Yes, a helicopter. It doesn't have to be that fucking low. It can fly around and go around. I know. But I like the scene. I love the idea of this dogfight, and I just look at it as the villain just up his own ass, egotistical, think he could do it. And that's where he loses. And they, how many times you don't see a real tank and a real helicopter go towards each other with all this fucking... That's what I love about this. Before the age of CGI really became apparent, this is all done for real, and they really made this war happen. The way it looks. People on... Stallone on a horse with a Molotov cocktail with a helicopter on his ass and real explosions everywhere. A real tank, a real helicopter going past all this chaos and people find each other, explosions, and these two real vehicles coming in until they collide, playing chicken with each other. How many times you don't see a tank and a helicopter play chicken with each other? that's in these massive moments, and even the quieter moments I enjoy. When this poor village gets massacred, and that bit where he's there, among the smoke, and he sees it all. Doesn't have to say a word, tells the whole story. And it keeps on going. Stallone, probably in the most massive shape in his career. And, people complain about Stallone and Rambo. He actually tries to give Rambo a little bit personality, but not too overblown. So there's a little bit more humor. He tells it no, ignore pain, right? Is it working? Not really. What do you say, John? Fuck him. But it's not like he's doing a fucking comedic stand-up act. People like, oh my god. People blew it out of proportion. I mean, it's supposed to be a character that has changed and grown a little bit. He's not in caves listening to fucking Rolling Stones or whatever with his hair cut short, killing people with a bunch of CGI. With his daughter that we never seen before. Well, not really his daughter, but surrogate, whatever the fuck, yeah. That's a whole other thing. But yeah, Rambo 3, I never understood the hate for it. The villain, I wish there was a different actor. Maybe bring a little bit more to it. The kid, yeah, at times he was a bit irritating. Even Stallone himself, at the time, I think, said he didn't like the kid. But, and no, he didn't help the fucking Taliban. It's like people needed. The Taliban were not what it was at that point in time. People need to know their history of what those folks were at that time under Russian rule. But people, I guess they want to look up actual history. But anyway. Although it's funny how people at the time said, oh, this old hat, the Russians are the bad guys. Because when it came out, that's when, I think, was it Reagan and Gorbachev shook hands? Nowadays, Russians are in vogue to be bad guys. So, I guess you flip it, it was ahead of its time. But I love Rambo 3. Number 3, I put Rambo 4. Wonderful experience in the theater. That definitely helped. It was great to see Rambo and sort of this fuck the world mentality. He's had enough. He's gruff. He's catching snakes. It was an interesting place to be. Of course, they bring up Burma, which is a conflict we never in the States knew about. So bring attention to that. You can talk about villains that you hate just based on their actions. Doesn't that even personalities or character development? It's really based on their horrific actions. That, for one, understand was really happening in Burma. Maybe still is to this day, sadly. And, people being forced to run across, and there's mines everywhere that get blown up. When the bad guys attack the village and they're stabbing kids and gutting kids and throwing kids in the fires, like, holy shit. This movie didn't hold back on the rating. Which is crazy because the MPA bitched about hard target. This can't be R rated. And then this film, look at, and they got an R rating. That's how times have changed. Thank God though, because it's definitely the most gory, the most violent, the most brutal. Yes, there are CG additions. I wish that wasn't in it. Like when the bomb explodes, there's CG additions that don't look that great. They look that great then, looks even less great now. I like the other the mercenaries that Rambo has to. He's just a boatman. Bring them to their destination to help these missionaries out that got caught by the bad guys. The missionaries were there to do their charity work. Work for God, however you want to put it. And I like the idea that these mercs don't know who Rambo is, but we know who Rambo is. So it's like, okay, you guys don't learn, motherfucker. You don't learn. So when Rambo's like shooting with the bow and arrow and has that great dialogue, live for nothing or die for something. Your call. I love Stallone's intensity. He's still a man with few words, but when he says it, there's a brooding anger, and it makes sense because he's experienced in the past. Although I guess the whole month thing in Rambo 3 didn't help matters. Although, maybe with the death of Troutman and all these other things, not really much for his mood to be helped. And I love the side characters, especially the sniper guy. I think Matthew Marsden is his name. Forgive me if I got his name wrong, but the sniper, his character named Schoolboy. I liked that actor. I thought he did a good job. I thought Brian Tyler did a pretty nice job as well with the score. It's hard to take over for Jared Goldsmith, who sadly had passed away, but he definitely did a more than commendable job. He very much honored Jared Goldsmith's work with that score. And that's a tough act to follow. And the ending was one of the best theatrical experiences I experienced. Just there's action and Rambo's ripping throats out. I'm like, all right, okay. I'm thinking, okay, it's not as much action as Rambo 2 or Rambo 3, and that's disappointing. But I'm like, okay, I'm still enjoying it. That's what I'm thinking in the theater. Then he gets up, he cuts the head off, he makes the guy into paste, and he's just like, and he's like blowing arms off, blowing legs off, he reloads. He makes a whole truck full of people into ketchup with no mustard. And then blows a hole in a guy's chest, and then the sniper blows a guy's head up. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah! You know, that's the reaction. Fuck yeah! And then he guts the guy and then kicks him. And then that beautiful bit at the end where it went full circle. The way First Blood began, it ends. The same type of clothes, backpack. It's a long road motif from First Blood. He's gotten home, go to see his dad or whatever is left on this farm. That's where it should have ended. It was the perfect bookend. Perfect. So I love Rambo 3. Number 4, First Blood. I know people, you put it so low. I still love First Blood. Like, the first 4 Rambo films are in my top 50 favorite films of all time. I love this so much. I'm more of an action junkie guy, so Rambo 2, 3, and 4 are above it. But First Blood is a really good movie. It's still really good. It understandably doesn't have as much action because it's telling that different story about a guy that just wants to be left alone. He just wants to eat. They won't leave him alone. So he's defending himself. And it's still a lot of good stuff. Great wilderness, location, photography. Brian Dennehy and David Caruso and such as the cops. They do a nice job with their assholish, especially Brian Dennehy. Because he's a villain, but at the same time, he's not mustache twirling villain. Just a teen shit cop. Won't let me have a bite to eat. And he's a guy that believes in what he's doing, Brian Dennehy. He believes what he's doing is right. What he's doing was the right call. He's not being over the top with it. He's not being over the top evil with it. Which makes him even more interesting. Great score by Jared Goldsmith. I love the song It's a Long Road at the end credits. It was, I guess in the first cut, Rambo talked a lot, or at least the original script. And Stone's like, I need to just take out more and more dialogue, be more and more silent. It worked for the character because there's a certain mysterious presence to him. And then when he snaps, when they're trying to make him shave, he's like throwing guys through windows, kicking them. Sure, a lot of people have this fantasy of what they want to do to cops. And then he just wants to be left alone, and the one person he kills tried to murder him. And he just threw a rock at the damn helicopter, and dumbass didn't put on his seatbelt. So his own damn fault. And I love that speech at the end. People make fun of it. I love that speech. I think it's very emotional. I think it showed Stallone's acting fairly well. I always understood it. I never understood it. Well, I don't know. Did some Q-tips for your fucking ears. I don't know what to tell you. I understood it from back then. Back there I could fly a gunship. I could drive a tank. Back there I can't even keep a job. Parking cars. This kid came over with a shoe shine box. Said, shoe shine, please, shoe shine. I went to get a couple of beers. And Billy opened up. It blew up. And he's all over the place. He's all over the place. And my friend, he has no legs. He's crying for help. I want to go home. I want to go home, Johnny. You have no fucking legs. You have no fucking legs. Very nice, emotional, dramatic story about a guy that was pushed. They drew first blood, not me. Broke down. Got arrested. But he is just this. You're like, you know, he has to get arrested, but he doesn't deserve it. And just what a lot of these folks went through. Being pushed around. Big tall baby killer, all sorts of vile crap. Which is what happened, Sally. Sally happened a lot. And they didn't deserve it. But yeah, First Blood would be number 4. That's not a knock against it. It's just, I love these 4 films that much. It'd be 2, 3, 4, 1. And then the worst, I don't like Rambo 5. I do not like Rambo Last Blood. I never liked Rambo Last Blood. Is it the worst movie of all time? No. If they had killed Rambo and all sorts of stuff, then yes, but no. Originally they were going to kill Rambo, but for I understand Stallone put... Which, it's funny, anytime Stallone talks, he talks like he directed the film, interesting enough. I'm like, there was a director on there, his name, but anytime Stallone talks about it, he acts like he directed it, so... Maybe Stallone really did direct it. It's just this other guy put his name on it. I don't know. You tell me. Because you never hear about this guy, what he did directed the film. It seemed like... Or he directed, and then Stallone... Obviously, he got all the final... points of contention. Got all the final choices. All the final... There's another word I'm thinking of. Final decisions. Movie so bad, can't even think about the word decisions. As in, this was a bad decision to make this movie. It didn't need to be made. No one was asking for another Rambo film. Even me, when my username has Rambo in the title, I was not asking for another Rambo film. And then lo and behold, it came out. It really didn't do much in terms of business. People have forgotten it existed. You'll see people saying, yeah, Rambo 4, that should have been the end of it. This felt like more of a cash grab. It felt like Rambo in name only. It didn't look like Rambo. It didn't sound like Rambo. He didn't act like Rambo. Rambo's a man of few words. He talks more in that film than in the first 4 films combined. I dare him. Rambo 5, he has more dialogue, he has more discussions, has more monologues than in Rambo 1 through 4 combined. He cut his hair so he doesn't look like Rambo. Even as a fun nod, if you don't do that, bring back the C4 arrows. He's not going to do that. Instead, he's using music to mess with villains. Okay, that's different. Somehow he dug this entire sophisticated tunnel system because he was bored. I get that he's trying to have PTSD, but I thought the whole point was that Rambo 4, he went home because he let that go. But apparently not. It's like he did let it go at the end of Rambo 4. That's why he went home. That's why he chose to go home. Except, nah, actually, forget it. Never mind. Instead, he kind of has this... We never get to see Rambo's dad. who he was, how he was. He has this land, and he got this not daughter, but kind of daughter, where it's not really his daughter, but he looks at her as his daughter. And then she dies. And then Rambo does stupid decisions. As a guy that knew tactics, like in First Blood, hunting in the woods, like in Rambo 2, with the mud, hunting people, why would he just go out into Mexico, out into wide open space? Hey, everybody, look at me. You'll see where I'm at. You see where I'm at. I'm outnumbered, have no backup, have no plan, and then gets his ass beat. Rambo's not that stupid if you watch the other Rambo films. When he went into Rambo 3 to go find Richard Crenna, he didn't go in guns a-blazing. He went under the taint, and he hid under the taint. He was dragged by the taint. He sneaked around to get the Troutman. Apparently Stallone forgot about that. The villains, I don't know, the movie felt like it was trying to be Taken, but in Mexico. You know, Taken with Liam Neeson in Mexico. The villains were nothing to talk about. The violence, I mean, okay, he's breaking bones with a hammer, but there's CGI additions in there, so it kind of lost a bit of its impact. I could give you that despite the CGI additions, there's some fun to be had in the finale with how violent it is. And you know, all these traps. But maybe in a better movie, or hell, it didn't even need to be a Rambo film. And with like a better story, with a girl that wasn't so unlikable because she just did stupid after stupid decisions and felt like she had no common sense. With villains that had more personality. I don't know, it didn't feel like a Rambo film. Didn't sound like a Rambo film. Brian Tyler just felt like he just did the music from Rambo 4 again. And the ending was not nearly as satisfying. Just now, he's on a horse and he runs off to where the fuck. Rambo 4 ended perfectly full circle. Why would you ruin that? Because Stallone wanted a film in theaters just so his mind will feel more relevant. Because I don't like that my movies are going direct to video, so I need a movie in theaters, so if I get to be Rocky again in the Creed films, which to be fair, other people were making those, he just joined. But I need to make another Rambo, and then, no. Didn't need to be made. No one was asking for it. So, Rambo 5 sucks. So, Rambo 2, 3, 4, 1, and fuck Part 5. That's just my opinion. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.